You hold it away. You mean what you say when you tell me you love me. Do you really? Do you really? Yes, it's the Nightcore version, but I'm still not trying to get copyrighted. Okay. Ooh, wait a minute. I don't think I like the lighting from this angle. Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. It looks good, but also this is better. So let's do that. Y'all can't see me. I look short as hell. Wait a minute. We're gonna try this again. Hey, that's better. What's up? I don't know why I'm like this either. Okay. I'm making this video because I've been meaning to make videos for a while, but I'm making this video because I experienced some ableism today. I will start this off by saying, first and foremost, earlier this morning I received some verbal abuse, and so going into the space I was already sensitive to words coming towards me. I went to Brave Space Alliance. Well, I went to Brave Space today in Hyde Park, to the drop-in center. When I got there, I was already exhausted. It was a bad pain day for me. It's been raining on and off. And I was tired, and it showed. I wasn't able to mask today. So when I got there, I was like, hey, I just need to do the... I can't remember the name of the sheet. The check-in sheet or whatever. The intake sheet. That's what it is. I need to... Oh, I have a client. 1 second. Not a client, one of my coworkers. Anyway, I went in and I was like, hey, I just need to do the intake sheet. They're like, what do you need? And I was like, oh, wait, I just need to do the intake sheet. And the reason why I said that was because, like, in my mind, it was just like, we're about to find out what I need because I'm about to put it on the intake sheet, right? And they're like, what do you need? And I was just like, I was taken aback, and it kind of triggered me a little bit to, like, start tears. And I was like, I'm exhausted. I need to take a second. I just need a second. And the staff gave me a second. They did. But they just kept talking or whatever. I got up to do this take-in sheet. It seemed like the Miss Keisha that was at the desk today didn't really, like, want to give me the tablet. I don't know why. But it felt like that to me. So I just scanned the nearest intake sheet QR code that I saw. I made a mistake and did the intake for the food pantry instead of the main intake. TJ, a really cool dude, or, well, I can't assume. I don't know these people. TJ stopped me real quick. I was on the phone at the time, too, talking to somebody. So, so I guess that might have... No, it probably definitely did come across as rude to staff. TJ called out, was like, your name's Cameron, right? And I turned around, I was like, who's talking to me? Because I was on the phone, I had my headphones on and everything like that. I didn't know where it came from. I'd already started walking away. And it was like, you. And I was like, oh, okay. And they're like, you didn't do the right intake sheet. This is the one for the food pantry. This is the regular one. Do this. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, is it okay if I finish it in there? Because I was in a lot of pain. I needed to sit on a softer seat. I needed to sit on the couch. And TJ said, yeah. And so I scanned the thing, I went and I finished my intake and sat down inside of the hangout area of the drop-in center. And as I was going towards the hang-in area, there was another youth that came in that happened to be white, and she didn't have to do the intake sheet and was immediately serviced by Miss Nia or Naya, I believe. I came into the hangout area and I saw them sit down, and I said, excuse me, I really need space to sit down on that couch. I wasn't trying to be rude. I just needed to sit on the couch because my body. And they were kind and they moved out the way. Um, but and I sat down and like I kind of recuperated a little bit, finished my sheet, let a few tears fall, and decided to sit down and wait. So after not the client, the other community member was served, I was on the phone with my friend and I was just like, I'm trying not to be upset right now because this is my third time at Brave Space and I've asked for housing services every time and nobody's come to talk to me about housing services or anything like that. Whenever I've come to Brave Space, if I put something down on my sheet, I also have to get up and physically ask somebody to take care of each and every single thing that I can remember at the time. Like I know the services that I need, but as things are being completed, you kind of start getting like overwhelmed by all the stuff that you're getting because it's a good space, you know. And you kind of like forget what else you might need to do while you're still there. And there's a limited amount of time. But the other person, like I was telling my friend that I was upset that I haven't been like seen by anybody for real, for real. And she was like, "Why don't you like ask or talk about somebody?" I was like, "I'm not really trying to bother anybody right now. It's just like there's some weird energy here. I already did my intake, so I'm just gonna wait for someone to come talk to me." And I ended up waiting for 2 hours. After 2 hours, I got up and I went to Miss Keisha and I was like, excuse me, are services like dispensed out on a first come, first served basis? And she was like, yes. And I was like, oh, okay, because I've been waiting for 2 hours and I haven't been serviced here. And Miss Keisha responded to me and was like, okay, well, you're coming at me very aggressive right now. And to that, I was surprised because I'm just tired, but okay. You're coming at me very aggressive right now, and this is a happy space, and I need you to understand that. Okay, I understand. And she said that she was going to make sure and see as to why I was skipped. Cool. So I go back and sit down, and Melina is brought to me to take me into the dignity closet. And she asked me, and was like, why did you wait so long? Why did you wait so long to get service? Why didn't you ask anybody or like talk to anybody? And I let her know what happened when I first walked into the space. And she was like, oh, well, you could talk to a manager or something like that. You can ask for a manager. And I was like, yeah, but I haven't been introduced to anybody that I know is a manager here. I haven't really been introduced to anybody that I haven't spoken to on my own. I haven't even gotten a tour of the space. Like every time, and I told her what I just told you guys about every time I've come there, I have to do stuff myself. And the first time I was there, it seemed like Miss Keisha had a little bit of a problem with me kind of casually walking around, but I wasn't casually walking around. I was just going to the spaces. I went to the space where the food was, like I was told, and I came back out of it. And after I did that, it was said to the entirety of the group, excuse me, you guys are not allowed to wander the space unattended. Mind you, I wasn't wandering, I was just gathering my things and then getting out of there. But because I had not been seen inside of the space before and wasn't necessarily speaking to anybody and keeping to myself, I do understand why it was taken upon that way. But anyway, back to today. Um, Drop in space, Melina. Okay, cool. So I get my clothes and everything like that with Melina. It's pretty chill. It's pretty cool. Melina brings Naya in for me to talk to, and I tell her the same thing and what happened or whatever. And they're like, oh, okay. And I'm assuming at this point, staff, well, not assuming, I know at this point, staff has been talking about what transpired when I got there. And the miscommunication aspect was I said, no, I did not need food services. And that is true. And I mistakenly signed in on the food service thing. And then I signed in on the other thing. It just kept on seeming like I was being made out to be a problem when I wasn't doing much at all, except for maybe having a stank face. I don't know. And so I talked to Naya, and it was like, okay, you're talking to me all calm and everything like that. And I'm just thinking to myself, yeah, I'm talking to you calm, but like I wasn't like hyped up talking to people earlier either. Like I didn't curse at anybody. I haven't been yelling. Like the most I think I've been is stern. And they're asking, and Melina asked me, was like, do you feel a lot better now that we've talked about this? And I was just like, no, I don't. I'm being calm right now, but I do not feel better about this. And I was right. I was told that my feelings are valid and I'm valid to have my feelings. It felt dismissive, but I just took it as it is. As we were leaving the closet, Melina said that she was, let me start back over. As we were leaving the space, Melina said, it was like, you can go ahead and like talk to the people up front or whatever, and I'll be there with you. I made a misunderstanding on the way up to the front. As we were passing the beauty room, somebody was in there utilizing it. Cool. And I came there for beauty services, which I did not receive, as you can see. Um, and Melina told me to wait and then we'll get in there. What I thought she meant by that was she told me to wait and then she would come up there as an up with me to the front room so I could talk to Miss Keisha and whoever else was there and just like kill whatever negative energy was there, right? So that's not what Melina said, but that's what I understood. That's what I misunderstood. And then it started raining. And I was like, ooh, it's raining. And during our conversation inside of the closet, Ms. Nia had suggested to me to introduce myself and ask people for their pronouns. And I know to do that, but it's not something that I was actively doing inside of the space because I'm trying to just keep to myself and get the services that I need for my stuff and then be out of there, for real, for real. It started raining, and I turned to one of the staff members, and I introduced myself. And Mr. Demetrius reintroduced himself to me because I didn't fully recognize him at first because it was our second time interacting with each other, and it was really nice. They're really cool. Um, and I asked them to watch my bags while I stepped outside for a second because I wanted to dance in the rain. Even though the rain and the air pressure hurts my body, I love the rain. I do. It's a love-hate relationship. It really is. I have a problem. So, I asked Demetrius to watch my bags. They said yeah. So I went, I almost went out the door where like there's like a nice little landing by the side, but they said I wasn't allowed to go out there. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go downstairs then. And so I went downstairs. My mistake there was I was supposed to talk to Miss Keisha at that time. I didn't know. So I went downstairs and I danced outside. And I'll share the playlist. I was having fun. And I said hi to a couple of people as they was coming in, Miss Keisha came out, she had a cigarette, ooh, wah, wah, wah. I was still dancing, to Sweeter Than You, Ada, yeah. And after Miss Keisha went inside, I was just like, it's probably time for me to go inside. And the rain had mostly stopped at that time. So I was like, all right, now I'm ready to talk. And they had they smoke break, so things are probably like cool now, right? So I go in the elevator. I'm playing Spooky Coochie by Doechii. And the elevator opens. And I pause the music. And immediately as the door opens, it's, excuse me. We don't want you to be sitting on the couches, okay? We need you to sit in one of the hard chairs in there. Me, already having the interactions I've had that day was just like, you see this cane? I have a spine injury. I cannot do that. I don't mind sitting in the chair beside the couch or something, but I can't do that. And they're like, okay, well, you just came in from outside and you're wet. And I'm just like thinking to myself, I know I came in from outside. Why do you think? And I can feel that I'm wet. What? So they're like, and you're wet, and that's not fair to the other patrons. And I'm like, I understand. My jacket's not wet. I can sit on that. Or I just got out of the closet. I didn't get any pants, so maybe if it's possible, I could go in there and get a pair of pants, and I'll just change my clothes. I got the shirts that I needed. That's not an issue. Or if you guys have a cushion to put on one of the hard chairs, I could do that. And they were like, well, you could go in there if you see any cushions. There aren't any cushions in there. I would have already done that first if there was. If you see any cushions, you can use those. And as soon as they were like that, I started walking away or whatever. And I did forget to mention, right after I said I have a spine injury, Miss Keisha was like, yeah, but you were dancing outside for an hour. Me getting my exercise has nothing to do. Me getting my exercise to help myself with my pain is none of your business. Okay? And after that statement was said, I shut down and did not want to communicate anymore because that's straight ableist. That it just is. And so I started to walk away from the conversation because things were just being repeated over and over again, like I'm a child that doesn't get it or something like that. And I'm not about to take that myself. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I walk away into the space and I go sit down, right? And I'm sitting down in the chair beside the couch. And I asked Demetrius, can I speak to a manager? Because at this point, I'm not taking this anymore. And like something that I was told by one of the staff members is that I need to be careful or I'm going to basically be blacklisted and blocked off from services if I'm not like careful with talking to people, da da da, ooh. And I know black spaces be doing that type of beat. But it felt like that started happening as soon as I got into the space and had that initial interaction, and that's why I wasn't seen properly. But I don't know for sure. And so I sit down, I asked Demetrius to speak to a manager. And he was like, oh, okay. And he was like, well, I don't really know. I'll go ask and see. And that's when stuff started getting really weird. A manager came to talk to me and was like, okay, so what's the problem? I said, I'm experiencing ableism right now and I'd like to file a grievance. And Miss Keisha came into the room, Demetrius was in the room, the CEO happened to be in the room or something like that, because they were having people walk through the space, like there's new staff like being overturned or something, that's not my business. But there was a lot of staff inside of the room, and there was like only like maybe 2 or 3 other community members around. And so like I am feeling ganged up on, and I'm not yelling and I'm still not cursing. And it was like, oh, so what's the problem? It was like, I just like to file a grievance. I've been experiencing some ableism. One of Miss Keisha's co-workers that had some long hair and was wearing a white or gray outfit today was asked me what the problem was, and I was just like saying like, I understand that you're like trying to take up for your coworker or whatever. She said like, I'm not trying to do that. I was like, okay, I made an assumption, all right. And it's just the I think the CEO or like the head officer came up to speak to me and was like, hey, what's the problem? I was like, I just want to file a grievance or whatever, get my stuff done. That's it. And I was like, okay, what do you want to do? File a grievance. That's all that needs to be done right now. That's it. He was like, and I was like, and also, can we go to an office to speak in private? Because I'm not trying to bother the other people here. Like, this is a lot. And it was like, yeah, it was like, we just wanted you to understand that, like, we're not trying to have wet clothes and see, I get that. And it was like, and like, we could just take you, and like, it was like, with, like, to get, like, some pants or whatever from the closet. I was like, yeah, and I got some shirts here already, and I don't mind changing my shirt, too. It's actually something I suggested. I didn't say this as calm or exactly inside of this order, but these are the things that I said. And he was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to my office and then I'll come back and get you and we'll give you a piece of paper or whatever for you to write down whatever you need to. The door was closed, and then Melina was sent out to me and she told me I needed to leave. And I was confused. And I didn't really resist leaving. I was simply confused. And as I was leaving, I'm hearing staff talk about me, about how I want to file a grievance. And I'm heading down into the elevator, and then Melina comes and she's talking to me and she's like, why would you do that? Why would I do what? It seems like you put on a show. You're just telling them that you have like a sprain or a spine injury when you were just dancing outside. If someone wants to see medical records, they can, but that's an invasion of my privacy. Why can't I as a disabled person have joy? Why can't I as a disabled person dance through my pain and dance away my anger? Why is that a problem for y'all? Like, you guys go to ballroom and stuff like that. I'm playing music out loud for everybody to hear. It's not like I'm out here looking crazy for real. Like, and it's just like, it looked like people are thinking that like you got trauma, like that you're trauma or whatever. We're not trying to bring that into the space. And I'm like, whoa, in my mind, nonprofit organization not trying to deal with trauma, ableism. Because how are you going to offer mental health services for the community members that are coming to you, but after the fact, you're going to distance yourself from people that you assume are having a mental health issue. And so, with that being said, I gather that staff believes that I may be crazy or I may be a risk to the other community members there. And I don't appreciate that. And so I kind of expressed to Melina that I was simply confused about what was going on. Like, I was let know that I'm supposed to stay in the front area to receive services and then go to the hangout area. No one had told me that before that day, before today. Like, I did not know that. And I let it be known that it was like, okay, I wasn't aware of that. I had no idea. It's just like, and I said, it was like, it's being like, it feels like I'm being made out to be a problem when I'm not. It was like, oh, well, why do you feel that way? It was like, because that's what's happening. Nope. No, it was not, why do you feel that way? It was, well, nobody said that. And I was like, it doesn't need to be said for me to feel that way. Like, it really doesn't. Like, I'm being made out to be a problem. And so, like, Melina's, like, asking me, like, why would I do that? Like, you know you need these services, da-da-da-da. Like, you're acting out. And I'm like, I'm not acting out. And I was like, well, what does that look like to you? And I was like, it looks like somebody that had a stressful situation went outside to cool off in the way that they knew how, and then came back in to a bit of a heated conversation. And I'll take like, I was told to take accountability. And I'll take accountability here. When I did go back upstairs and I was being talked to about not sitting on the couch, it felt aggressive towards me. And it felt retaliatory to me as well. But, and a bit antagonistic, if I'm not lying. So that's how it came off to me. It was told to me that it was not meant that way, and they were just letting me know and telling me. And that's fine. You can let me know and you can tell me, but you don't gotta do it like that. So I'm like, Melina's like, yeah, but you should just leave, but you should just leave, but you should just leave. I'm not resisting anything. I do not mind leaving. It's fine. I will leave. I'll go. I just need to sit here for a while because I'm in pain still. I'm still in pain. And so I out to the sitting area and I sit for a while. I get on the phone with my grandmother and have a short conversation with her. As I'm speaking to her, Melina, Miss Keisha, Miss Naya, and TJ, and I believe one other staff member whose name I'm not aware of, came downstairs to talk to me. As I was on the phone with my grandmother, and Melina was saying, hey, you off the phone? No, you see I'm still on the phone. Okay, well, I need you to get off the phone so we can talk to you real quick. And it felt kind of rude because I'm not inside of the space or necessarily on you guys' property anymore, so I still don't know why I'm being treated like this. And people were trying to see, it was like, well, you were being aggressive. If more than one person said you were being aggressive, you were being aggressive. But I wasn't like, ooh, and I wasn't making wide gestures with my hands or anything like that. I was very contained. And I was very cool. I might not have been all the way calm, but I was collected. Okay? And they're talking to me and they're saying that I'm basically saying that I'm suspended from the space and that I can't return in 30 days and that I can't make my grievance until I return in 30 days. And I will not be silenced for a month. What? And they say there's no problem. Like, you can still file the grievance. We just want you to get through whatever you're going through over the next 30 days before you come back. TLDR, paraphrasing really, but that's basically what was said. And I was just like, I'm here to get services here for what I'm going through, but that's okay. There's other nonprofit organizations that I can go to get that. I'm not trying to disrespect the space, and I will leave. And I'll leave it at that. No, I told them, like, this is a bad pain day for me. I'm not presenting as I usually do. I'm not as bubbly and happy as I usually am because I'm going through that, basically. But, like, I just don't like how I had to explain that to people. It's like, oh, you're acting different. I'm in pain. I just, personally, this is why I stay away from people. And this is why I haven't been seen much around by the people that know me for the past couple of years, few years, to be quite honest, outside of crisis. Because pain is not understood by our society. And chronic pain is even far less understood. And people with disabilities are even less understood. And I am not going to sit here and let people gaslight me into believing that I was the only aggressive party in this situation. And as fellow black people, you suspending me from a safe space as a trans disabled individual, and to say the reason for that is because I was being quote unquote aggressive, is extremely insulting and belittling to my soul and my spirit. So I make this to make people aware. I make this in order to share my voice because I wasn't heard today. I was silenced today, continuously, for existing in a way that makes other people uncomfortable, I assume. I presume. But that's not my place to dictate. Thank you for watching. If you want more updates on my life, subscribe. Hit a like, I guess. This is my first time doing this. I don't do outros, okay? Damn.